it right in here. And so the first thing that I want to do is to change its font because it's very small. So again, I just click on it, I go to inspector, we can see all the tools for it, all the components and variable for it and parameters. So I'm just going to change the font size, and as you can see, it gets bigger, but it also goes out of the box in here. So to fix that, I just need to make the width a little bit bigger and also the height. So now I have it in a better way. And at the same time, I'm gonna put it in the middle. And I can also simply change the color. And let's call it changes to welcome. I need to make it wider. There we go. So now I just added a text and also its own background. However, if I just move the image, then you can see that the text is not moving with it. So they're not together and like they're not as a package with each other. In order to do that, I just simply drag the text inside of the image. So now the text is child of that image. So if I move my image around, then the text is gonna also move around with it. Uh, so that's how it is working. So all these parameters are really straightforward. Everything should be familiar. Just work with them, look at them, and it's going to be pretty much simple to work with them. I didn't change the pivot or the anchor for my canvas because I really didn't need it to do that for the text. I don't need to know the dimension, where exactly it is in my sheet, so I really don't care about that. All right, so we just made a background as an image, and then we just made let's call it the text box. I'm gonna also change its name to text box. All right, so the next thing that I want to make is a button. So I go to create UI and then button text mesh pro. So again, it is pretty much small. I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger and just simply by dragging stuff, put it right in here at the middle. So you can see the inspector for button is obviously different. I have a target graphic, which is the texture for the button. We're not going to change that, but we're going to change the background for it from here actually, which is the source image. I'm going to click on it. Let's choose this guy. And so the text is black, the background is pretty much black too. Let's change the color of the text, which I don't see it here right now in my inspector. It's actually right in here. I need to expand this button by just clicking on its arrow, and I can see a text as a child for that button that we just made. So I'm gonna change the color to white, so now it's easier to see it, and I'm gonna change the font size and make it bigger. So now I want to move the text maybe a little bit to the right. And when I do that, you can see the yellow box in here. And we want to get rid of it because it can affect the clicking later on. So in order to do that, just go, just hover your mouse on it and then change it like this. All right, so we just modified the text for our button. And if I go back to the button and I change the normal color, you can see it's gonna affect my texture. And I'm gonna actually make it a little bit reddish. And if I change the color for highlighted color, let's put it on maybe green, you'll see that it's not gonna affect it at all. Even if I hover my mouse on the top of it, it's not gonna affect it. And the reason of that is because it only gonna affect when we are in play mode. So I'm just gonna play, and then now when I hover my mouse on the top of it, you can see it's gonna react to it. So if I change the color in play mode, let's put it on pink, you can see it's going to react to it. However, if I get out of the play mode, it's going to go back to green, which was our first choice before we start we play it. So if you play something, then and you do any changes in your inspector, or if you add any game object in here, then it's not gonna save it when you are out of play mode. It is good for testing and stuff. However, sometimes you want to keep your changes. So let's play it again and see how we can do that. I'm gonna change the color of the highlight this time to yellow, and it is working. So to keep it, I'm just gonna right click on it and then copy component. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna stop it. I right click here again, and then I can paste component values. And now it's gonna change all the value that I changed to what I did in play mode. I just changed the color of the highlight, and that's why this is the only thing is changed. All right, so let's make it a little bit more complex. What if I want to add an image right in here as part of my button? So that would be super simple. I just go to UI, image. I'm gonna drag it right in here, choose an image for it. So this is how it's gonna look like. And then if I move my button, it's not gonna, the texture is not gonna move around with it. So I'm just gonna Control Z, it goes back there. And as I showed you before, to make this image part of our button, we just drag it simply to the button by itself. So it's gonna be child of that button, and the button is gonna be the parent of it. So if I move my button, then it's gonna move around too. So even if I wanted to add another text, let's just do it right now. I can drag it here, like as a description or something. Maybe like that. Just make it a little bit wider so it's gonna fit in there. Yeah, this is really not important. I'm just gonna leave it like this. And again, if I move the button around, it's not gonna move with it. I have to make it as a child of that button. So now they're like a package with each other together. All right, so what if I want to have another button? So I can go again and make everything from scratch, or I can just select on my own button, hold Control and then D. So then it's gonna make a copy out of it. And then I can just simply drag it down. And if I hold Control and select both of them, and then again hold Control and then press D, it's gonna make two copy from them. So that was another point to mention. I think it will be useful later. I actually don't like the color of the text box. It doesn't match the background. Let's just make it a little bit different. Maybe this should be a little bit better. Again, it doesn't matter, but it just bothers me because design is a little bit, it's not cool. All right, so another point to mention is that if I click on the image, this image in here, and I click on the color for it, right in here, I just click on this color. I can affect the color just by moving this around. And I can also change the alpha directly inside of Unity for it. This can also be handy sometimes if like something is activated or is not activated. You can simply just change it in here instead of going to Photoshop or anything else to change it. All right, so that was for the button having images, text. Let's see how we can have slider. That is super simple too. Just go to create UI and then slider. So it is very small. I can see it. I'm just going to hit F and then it will zoom in it automatically. So what I can do is that making it bigger by changing the width and height. However, this is not going to be a good option in this scenario because this guy has a bunch of children, and then the childrens are not going to be affected by width and height. So if I change the width and height for the parent, it's not going to apply it to width and height for the children, which can be frustrating. So what we can do is that I'm going to control Z this back to what it was. What we can do is we can just simply scale it. So I'm going to click on this icon, or I just can hit R on my keyboard, and then I'm going to scale it. Let me just change the width. I don't want to change the height because I want to keep the proportion. Again, it is not good to use scale, but just for this tutorial, because I just want to make it short, I'm using the scale. But you should definitely go with the width and height, and then change it manually for every single part of your icons in here. So I want to play it and then see everything is working. The slider is also working. So if I want to see what are every single of these game objects, I can just I can go to play mode and then play around with them. So like I just click on handle, I have a texture in here. I can change it to maybe this guy, and you can see the shape of my handle just changed, and I can put any other sprite or icon that I want. So again, since I'm in play mode, if I get out of it, it's not gonna save anything. And just to remind you, the way to save your component value, you just right click on it, copy component, and you can see the icon is changed, but I can right click again and then paste the value, and then the icon is gonna be what I wanted. So I'm gonna play it again and then see what is field area. I'm going to click on field. I do have a texture. Okay, you can see this is the field area. So if I move my icon, that is the field area. I don't like it. I'm going to just put it back to what it was before. And if I change the color, you can see it make more sense now. All right, so we understood what is the layout for Unity. We just learned what is inspector. It is where you have access to different components and their parameters, where you can change everything to customize the stuff for yourself. We understood what is hierarchy, which is where all of your game objects are gonna be. And then we had our projects folder, which was in here. And by the way, if you want to add something to your project folder, just open your Windows Explorer or whatever you have, find your texture or textures, select all of them, and then just simply drag them to your Unity project panel in here. I don't need that actually right now. All right, so that is how you add assets to your Unity folder. We also talked about the resolution of a texture, so you can change it directly in Unity to see if it's a right size for your project or not, and then change it in Photoshop for yourself with the final texture that you want with the right size. I don't think if I want to talk about other stuff in this video, but in the next video, we're gonna make, let's say, a screw panel, which is very important. So you can just screw stuff, and then after that, we're gonna have another video for toggle and also input field as well. And then that would be probably it for UI. So hope you enjoy it. Thank you.